And welcome to another episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. I'm your host, Noah Love, and today we will be talking about college football week 3 predictions. We will be previewing and predicting some of the big games this week. Let's just get right into it though, because there's a big one tonight. It's Colorado versus Houston. Colorado won last week against Delaware. It was 31-7. The big news, though, is Caden Salter benched. You think Julian Lewis will get the start? No. If you watch the game and you've been following, you know who gets the start. First string quarterback Ryan Staub gets the start, which, if I'm being honest, he looked the best of the three quarterbacks against Delaware. On the they go on the road, obviously. Houston's a 4.5 point favorite. I'm going to take Colorado in this football game. I think Colorado's going to be able to run the football decently. I think the key thing is you can't turn it over. Houston, they've had two kind of games where they've played not the greatest opponents. They've allowed 0 and 9 points. So right now their defense look playing really well. The Connor Weigman is the quarterback for Houston. So look, if you can force him to make tough decisions, if you can put him under a lot of pressure, then if you're Colorado, you'll be very successful in this football game. And if you're Houston, obviously you're going to look at, can we run the football well? If we can run the football against Colorado, similar to what Georgia Tech did, not really with the option, but just running the ball down their throats, then they have a good chance of winning. But I don't think that's going to happen. I'm going to take the Buffs in this football game. I'm going to take them to win. Um, I'm obviously taking them the plus 4.5. Think this game's probably a 27-23 game. Think Colorado pulls it out. Okay, I'm next. Noon. Bobby Dodd Stadium, Atlanta, Georgia. Number 12, Clemson at Georgia Tech on ESPN. Clinton, the first ACC matchup for either team. Clemson favored by 2.5. I'm going to take Georgia Tech in this football game. I think this is the game Clemson gets got in the ACC. I think this is the game they get got. If it's not this one, then it's going to be another one. I just think the first 2 weeks, look, against LSU, tough loss. You're thinking, okay, they'll bounce back against Troy. They won the game, but they did not look good doing it. Is Clemson's defense going to be ready for how Georgia Tech is going to try to run the football on them? That's going to be a big key. For Clemson, it's really going to be about the explosive plays and running the football. Can we run the football and also have K get explosive plays down the field? Uh, to me, this is a toss-up game. Obviously, I'm going with Georgia Tech in this one, but it would not shock me if Clemson won. But I don't think it's a game where it's a blowout unless Georgia Tech just doesn't come to play, which I doubt, or they just have a bunch of turnovers. I think Georgia Tech's going to win it, and I think they're going to establish themselves. Hey, Florida State. Hey, Miami. Uh, hey, Florida State. Hey, Miami. Hey, Clemson. Hey, basically to all the ACC contenders, we're here to play, and and we believe we can go to Charlotte. And look, I said I believe it will be a rematch in the ACC title game of these two teams. Well, with the way Miami's looked, I'm not too sure that's going to happen at the moment. But look, again, we'll see. But I'm picking Georgia Tech because I believe they're going to have the ability to chew the clock. They're going to have the ability to run the football. And I think they're going to just be more physical than Clemson. I think they're gonna be able to stop the run, and if they stop the run, I don't think Cade's gonna be able to carry Clemson over the top. So I've got Georgia Tech winning this football game. Also, a game I just want to go to real quick: Oklahoma at Temple Hopefully, it's not a letdown. Oklahoma played really well, had some mistakes against Michigan. Think Oklahoma's going to win, but it's at Lincoln Financial Field. Could be something. Could be something in the water. Okay, now we go to noon. ABC Bryant Denny Stadium, Wisconsin at number 19 Alabama. Think Bama's going to roll in this game. Think they're going to roll. I'm not saying that Alabama's back. I just don't think Wisconsin's that good. That's just my personal opinion. I just don't think they're that good. I think Alabama will be able to out talent them for the most part. Look, Wisconsin, they're playing the backup quarterback this week. Look, Danny O'Neal played really well last week against Middle Tennessee State. But again, that's Middle Tennessee State. The Middle Tennessee, excuse me. This is Alabama. Now, do I believe they cover the spread? Because last year, you know what? I'm actually going to take Alabama minus the 20.5. I'm going to put faith in them to do that. I think Alabama's going to blow the doors off of Wisconsin. I think it's going to be a similar game to what happened last year. I think Alabama, they just have more talent. I think they're going to be able to throw the ball around a lot. Running the football could be an issue because Wisconsin is a physical football team, so that could be an issue. But in terms of the Bama defense, this is a game where they shine because against that offense, they should be able to not have much of an issue. I think this is like an Alabama 35, Wisconsin 10 game. I think Alabama, it's going to make people say, are they back? I don't think they are. I just think they're going to dismantle them. However, if this is a close game, and even if Alabama wins, the questions about DeBoer, I mean, boy. And if they lose, oh my goodness. Oh boy, that would be bad sight. That would be bad for all parties. Okay, I usually go to the next game I would usually go to is Georgia Tennessee, but that's like the game of the week, so we'll talk about that one last. But let's actually go here though to Ole Miss versus Arkansas. Ole Miss favored by 6.5 at home, their second SEC game. Ole Miss got the win last week against Kentucky. Taylor Green versus Austin Simmons. Interesting football game. Look, I'm gonna go with the Rebels. Um, the way I see Ole Miss losing is if Austin Simmons just has like 3 turnovers. That's the way I see them losing. But I don't think that's going to happen. I think Ole Miss is going to get a win against Arkansas. But I think Arkansas does cover. I think plus 6.5. I would take them that. I think this is going to be a very physical, very tight football game. But I think Ole Miss is just going to get it done. I think Austin Simmons' stat line is probably 234, 2 touchdowns, a pick. I think Ole Miss wins it in like a 34-30 game. I think that's what it is. I don't think both defenses are great, but I think Ole Miss finds a way to win. And if you're 2-0 in the SEC to start, you're looking good, obviously. Now it's not against like the top tier competition, obviously, but look, it's against two. Kentucky was a very capable team. Could have beat you last week. Didn't. That's a tough road environment. Now you're at home against Arkansas. Night game. Arkansas, SEC talent, Sam Pittman. They have a good quarterback. It's a game that I feel like obviously you can win, and one that I I guess you could say should win. So yeah, I'm going to take Ole Miss in that football game. Okay, the next game we're gonna preview USF at Miami. USF pulled off the upset. I said it multiple times. Sneaky great game. That'd be a tough game. South Florida pulled off the upset against Florida. We'll talk about Florida in a minute. But we're gonna get to this. I don't think Miami has a letdown, or not even a letdown, because they do play for Florida next week. But South Florida just beat Florida, so for Miami, this is probably their game of 4:30 on the CW network. Look, this is a game I'm gonna be very intrigued by. Give me the Canes, but give me South Florida to get the plus 17 and a half. I think South Florida, their defense is gonna keep them in most of any game. Byron Brown, it has been the breakout player the of the year so far in terms of what he's done for this football team in the first 2 weeks. But just give me Miami. I think Miami's better. I think they won't have a letdown. I think Miami's ability to throw the ball down the field and test USF corners is going to be big. I think with South Florida, the thing was, again, Florida probably should have won that football game last week. No disrespect to South Florida, because they obviously took the game, and Florida made a lot of mistakes last week in that football game. And Billy Napier, yikes, his seat is flaming hot. But South Florida did what they had to do. They did make the plays when they had to, and they won. I don't think I think if that was South Florida's like CB game, that's scary. But I think Miami wins probably by 10. I think it's a close battle. I think it's one of those physical games. I think Miami wins probably 27-17. I think it's one of those games where maybe going into the fourth, it's like 17-10 or something, or 17-14, maybe something like that. And Miami just pulls away, and I think Miami gets the dub. That environment's going to be rocking as well from Hard Rock Stadium. In terms of games this week, I'm excited about. That may be number one on the list. So yeah, give me Miami to win that football game 27-17. Think they're obviously going to get after Byron Brown. Byron Brown is going to have to use his legs a lot. However, Miami cannot make a lot of mistakes this week, because if they do, USF will pounce, and who knows. And I will just say this also before I get to the other game: if USF wins, South Florida wins, it may be shades of '07 down there in Florida. Okay, next game we're going to get into, this one interesting. Virginia Tech and Vanderbilt. Virginia Tech and Vandy. This one's interesting. Virginia Tech and Vandy. Well, that happened last week. I don't know what I'm talking about. South Carolina and Vandy. Vandy beat Virginia Tech last week. South Carolina, number 11. This is going to be a straight dog fight. The line is -3.5, which should tell you everything you need to know about this football game. I'm kind of conflicted on who to pick, if I'm being honest. Um, whew. I'm probably gonna lean South Carolina. Sellers versus Pavia is gonna be this is SEC Network. It's gonna be one of those games. This is gonna be a straight fight. Straight fight. Both teams really physical. You know what type of ball Vandy plays. Uh if Vandy wins, it's gonna be because Diego Pavia makes two or three. Oh my goodness, how did he do that plays? If they lose, it's gonna be because he tries to make those plays, but South Carolina uh makes him turn it over. It's gonna be this is gonna be a real rock fight. I think South Carolina wins this around. I think they win it probably 24-20. I think it's one of those type of games. I think Lenore Sellers may take over this game late. I like South Carolina to survive this one, but I'm not shocked. I would not be shocked if Vandy came out of here with a W. Would not be shocked. All right. let's go to Florida at LSU. Oh boy. Oh boy. Okay. So this Billy Napier. Okay. This is gonna be interesting. Uh Billy Napier, look, man, that was a bad loss to take in uh last week. That was a horrible loss. You can't look. I've praised South Florida. I think they're a really good team, but you can't lose that game. Can't do it. Just it's at home. You have opportunity to win. You played poorly, to be honest, but you gotta find a way to win that game. You have to find a way to win that game. So yeah, they didn't, and it obviously didn't work out. But this is a get off the mat game. We're gonna see a lot about Florida's football team. If Florida goes and loses this game by like 20, oh yeah, it's over. But if Florida wins this football game, there's gonna be conversations about Brian Kelly. Obviously, was that win, especially if Clemson loses, eh, Brian, they're gonna be questioning him. Obviously, I think LSU is gonna win this football game. I think Garrett, are they? I think they're going to be able. The question for me is, are they going to be able to protect Garrett Nussmeier? Are they going to be able to run the football? Are they going to be able to get into third and sevens and third and eights? If they're able to do that, give me LSU. But if they're not, then Florida has a good chance. Also, I really do believe in DJ Lagway a lot. Still, it wasn't his best game last week. I get that. But I really still do believe in him. Also, I want to believe in Florida, but it's really they have a lot of talent, but I just don't believe in the coach. Look, Florida was able to get them last year. Props to them. Again, different team. Uh, all around the world. I think LSU Blake Baker's going to give Lagway a hard time. I think they win this game probably. I'll say I'll say they win this around 28-17. I think LSU wins this game, and I think they're able to cover in the football game. And I think LSU is going to be able to win this game. And at that point, Billy Napier, I don't know if he'd be fired, but his seat, I mean, my goodness, his seat's already flaming hot. So yeah, okay, let's go to you can make the case for the second biggest game of the day, if not the biggest. It's a night game though. Number 16 Texas A&M at number 8 Notre Dame. The Irish are 6.5 point favorites in what, for all intents and purposes, I know it's only week 3, and I know they've Notre Dame's only played one game. They had a bye week last week, but it feels like a must win for the playoff. If you look, and I say this because if you look at Notre Dame's schedule, after this, it's Purdue at home, on the road at Arkansas, Boise at home, NC State at home, USC at home, at Boston College, Navy, I believe that's at home, at Pitt, Syracuse at home, on the road at Stanford. Right now, they don't have another ranked game after this. Now, NC State's 3-0 and USC, if they can continue, maybe those two will end up being ranked games. Maybe that could save them. But even then, those would be games you kind of would expect them to win. Uh, Look, Texas A&M, if they lose, depending on how they lose, I don't think it's the end of the world because they play in the SEC, they're going to have a lot more opportunities to win games and get into the playoff. Whereas with Notre Dame, this is kind of it in terms of ranked opponents, and you would have to see how it shook out. Um, I'm gonna take Notre Dame now. I think this is gonna be one of those defensive battles. I just like Notre Dame's grit. I think it's going to be one of those classic Notre Dame games. We're going into the fourth. It's kind of ugly. You think, okay, who's going to make the play to turn it? Think maybe Marcel Reed makes a mistake. Notre Dame makes a big play. They turn it. They win. I say Notre Dame wins 21-14. I say they win 21-14. It's one of those classic defensive battles in South Bend. I do think a key here is give Jeremiah Love the freaking ball. We can't be running all these screen passes. Give that man the ball. If you want to run a screen pass for him, it's fine. But then against Miami, in my opinion, they ran too many screen passes. Obviously, can Notre Dame protect the passer? It's a big thing. For A&M, they're going to want to run the football as well. Marcel Reed being in the backfield as a running option is a big thing. Can they test Notre Dame's secondary? And if they do, will Notre Dame's secondary be able to make plays on the football? I think they'll be able to because I believe it's still one of the best secondaries in America. But they'll get some things cleaned up. But yeah, I like Notre Dame in this football game. And lastly, Georgia versus Tennessee. Now, Georgia has earned the right, obviously, in these big spots, no matter who the opponent is or who the team is, to not to doubt them. And I'm not really doubting Kirby that they'll show up and win, but I just have a gut feeling about this game. And I usually pick Kirby in these big spots outside of if they're playing Alabama because for some reason you just can't beat Alabama. Um, unless it's in national title game or something. But I'm going screw it. I'm going to pick Tennessee. Think Tennessee gets it done. I think look, Kirby's owned this rivalry for a while. People think Tennessee cannot win this game. I don't think it's a cannot. I think it's just a have not. I think Tennessee the look, if they're able to run the football on light boxes, because that's their whole thing, they want to spread you out, they want to run against light boxes. Georgia prides itself on stopping the run in light boxes. That's what they do. That's what we do. So to me, that's a big key. And also the other big key, can Tennessee stretch Georgia vertically? Can they get vertically down the field? That's a big key. If Tennessee doesn't do either of these things, then obviously Georgia wins. If they do one of the two, I think Georgia wins still. If they do both, I believe they'll be able to win. I'm going to go Tennessee. I didn't even check what the line was here. The line is Georgia minus 3.5. So look, at times I trust Vegas a little bit. This line early might have been like 7.5, but it's been shrinking throughout the week. So yeah, I'm gonna take Tennessee to win. I'm going to take Tennessee to win on a walk-off field goal, 30-27. Tennessee pulls off the upset. They show that they are a major player this year in the SEC when even I and not a lot of people expected them to be. The Vols pull it off. They beat Georgia for the first time since 2016 when Josh Dobbs had that Hail Mary, and that's a game they shouldn't have even won. But that's besides the point. They get it done. All right. This has been an episode of the Don't Argue with the Facts podcast. This has been my college football week 3 predictions. Also, quickly, last night, Packers beat Commanders. We'll try to get that up at some point. But yeah, until the next time, see ya.